Good morning. This is the Innovation Conversation. How you doing, Tom?
Doing awesome, Kevin. How about you?
Great, great. Good to see you. So I wanted to talk today a little bit about there's a term that's being thrown around a lot. You've used it a couple of times on Morning Newsbeat. I read it a lot, but I want to make sure that our audience really understands it and what the impact might be.
Mhm.
Because quite frankly, I kept reading it, but I wasn't sure, so I had to go look it up. Um, so agentic retail. What is agentic retail?
So this is again not with a definition in front of me. This is Tom Furphy's take on it, basically off the cuff in our conversation, which I think, frankly, it's totally describable this way. I mean, agentic commerce means that there's an agent that does the shopping for you as a consumer. Now, what is an agent, right? And these are AI agents. So when technology based on AI is able to do things that you as a human would have done otherwise. So that could be creating your shopping list, going and doing research on products, um, shopping for those products, price comparing those products, and ultimately putting those products into a cart and tendering a transaction, all done on your behalf by the technology. And that can happen in a number of forms. But ultimately, if technology is performing human tasks of shopping, then that's agentic shopping.
At my direction? I assume at my direction. I'm instructing the AI agent. I mean, well, I'll just ask the question that way. I'm instructing the AI agent what to do.
Generally, yes. I don't think we're to the point of having, well, you are at some point, you are instructing the agent to do things for you.
Right.
Right. So, you may tell the agent, I want a new Patagonia vest,
Right.
or I want a new vest, maybe not even a Patagonia. And, the agent can go out and look for those for you,
Hmm.
can bring those back to you and say, we found these, right? I found these. That's at your instruction.
In the same
However,
way that if I were going to go on ChatGPT, let's say, and say I'm looking for a new vest, it might give me 20 different options and
yeah.
different
So
prices.
there's agentic elements to that.
Right.
Now, if it, we, yes, but if you were to say to ChatGPT, I needed a new Patagonia vest. I want it to be in any of these colors, and I want the best price you can find for me,
Right.
and go ahead and purchase it. Right? Then everything it does from there out would be agentic based on the direction you gave it, and it could complete everything in that case. Now there are other, and so agentic can be assisting you in shopping. Agentic can be completing the shopping for you. Agentic can be on a more open, broad LLM platform like a chat GPT.
Hmm.
It can also be done via apps. And I think you're going to see for a lot of the shopping that happens, particularly in grocery retail and kind of adjacent retail spaces, I think you're going to see, in addition to those platforms being able to do some work, hence Walmart announcing a deal with ChatGPT, they still don't know what that's going to be, and they know it's going to be sometime in 2026. I think you're going to also see apps that, will have more specific tasks, like my weekly grocery shop. And it'll know my tendencies, it'll know my consumption patterns. It will compile orders for me. It will remind me of those orders. It will show me, what is going to come in this week in the weekly grocery order and allow me to tweak it. So
Hmm.
that's assistive, but it's doing the work. And I'll actually go out and place that order and have that order delivered or have that order be set for pickup.
Well, and I know I mean, there's been like uh, moves in this direction in fits and starts, but like, your refrigerator will be equipped with this stuff. It'll know when you're running out of milk. I mean, in its own way,
Yeah.
that's a kind of agentic retail. It hasn't really worked yet because there hasn't been the infrastructure, but this develops the infrastructure.
Right. If your refrigerator could send a signal to your agent
Hmm.
saying, Coop's low on this Organic Valley 1% milk. Uh, put it in the order.
So one of the reasons it's been in the news lately is Amazon has gone to a company called Perplexity, which basically has these agents and has basically said, stop sending your agents on to Amazon.com and doing and shopping for people. We don't want you doing that. What is their core objection?
Well, and Jassy even talked about this on the earnings call. He expressed enthusiasm for agentic commerce and talked about Rufus being one of their capabilities that helps agentically. Um, but he did also say that you really have to get the customer experience right.
Right.
And I know Amazon legitimately does not want to be part of a poor customer experience where these agents are going to be out doing things for customers, performing transactions on Amazon, and then ultimately having the experience be bad for the customer, which is then a bad reflection of Amazon to the customer. And then, frankly, can also result in customer service, returns costs, and other things, at Amazon that would actually add costs to Amazon cost structure. That's I would say it's legitimate, and that's the company line. The other concern an Amazon would have is it bypasses their advertising
Right.
business today, right? So today it bypasses the sponsored ads and goes right to the transaction. You're gonna, so they're not going to get the ad revenue that they would get for that shopping session. And that can be a problem, right? So when you have an advertising business, the size and scale and the growth rate of theirs and the profit that it contributes to the company overall, you start chipping away at that with agentic shopping, that gets a little scary.
Yeah.
Now, I think there will be a next generation of marketing that appeals to agents. We don't quite know what that is yet, or how that's going to come down. And there will be money involved in that. Um, and it'll be trackable and all that good stuff. So I think there is a path there for advertisers to influence agents, for platforms to be able to get a piece of that advertising, but it's still really murky. And ultimately, how that advertising helps result in a better purchase. It's still kind of murky though how that's gonna come out. So, Amazon today is saying, "Hey, we don't want your bots pounding away at our site, and we don't want this to happen in what could be a potentially bad customer experience." The volume in the near term is not going to be enough to make any difference to their advertising business. So, I don't think that's the nearest term concern, but it is a concern.
There is a kind of crazy irony over the idea that Amazon does not want to be disintermediated out of the customer experience. Um,
For
the
sure.
so if you're a regional, a decent sized grocer, but you're not Amazon, you're not Kroger, you're not Walmart. Is this something you have to be concerned about, or you have to start developing strategies to deal with this? Or is it something at this point that if you're not above a certain size, you really can't worry about it too much because there's not much you can do about it?
I'd say if you're not above a certain size and you don't worry about it, you're never going to get above a certain size.
Fair.
So, so um, I do think you need to worry about it. It's like when search came out.
Right.
You needed to be findable
Right.
in search, right? And then that became more and more critical as search became bigger. And if you weren't there and other people were searching and getting ads through search and going elsewhere because then that was bad for you.
Right.
Then when e-com started, if you were way, way, way behind and you're still trying to play catch up now, you've missed out on a lot of growth over the years. And I would argue, we talked the other day about Amazon's $100 billion grocery business. Well, you know what? Amazon got that partly because a bunch of the industry was kind of asleep.
Right.
And they basically took 25% of the center store, 10 to 25% of any business's center store out, over the last couple of decades. So this is something you need to have a strategy, you need to be participating in. I don't think you need to completely break the bank on it, but you better have a strategy. You better be understanding what capabilities are out there and evolving. You better be getting your data, your technology stack, your app you really want to be able to become as assistive as possible through all that. And, ultimately, the ultra assistance is kind of agentic. So I do think no matter your size, you got to be playing there. Now, if you're a smaller independent, you're working with Instacart, work with Instacart on the way they're thinking about agentic, and they
That was
are.
that was going to be my next question because I think it was two innovation conversations ago. We were talking about the role of AI and ChatGPT in shopping and how they were working with Walmart and stuff.
Yeah,
And one of the things that you had said was that it was critical for, again, if you're below a certain size you have to have the right partnerships, you have to have the right alliances, you have to be working with other companies, whether it's
absolutely.
Instacart or whoever it happens to be. And one of the questions you have to say is, okay, what's your chat GPT strategy? By the same course, if you're having those conversations, it seems to me you have to be saying, okay, what's your agentic commerce
Yeah,
strategy?
a
So
hundred percent.
and they have to have a good answer for that. Because if they don't, you probably want to do business with somebody else.
Well, they have to if they have to be developing a good answer for that.
Right.
And in some cases, it may be collaborating with them to collectively develop the better answer.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Because this is not going to be a unilateral thing. I mean, there's ultimately going to be lots of systems that have to work together, to have agentic work. Um, if it's an app that's connected to Instacart that ultimately connects to the retailer to do fulfillment, it ends up becoming a fairly closed-ish ecosystem for that. But Instacart as a platform, they're going to want to work with agents. They're going to work with agents that they don't even know yet,
Right.
right? But when an agent comes knocking on their firewall
Right.
and comes in to do some shopping, they want to have the right experience. It's going to enable that agent to be successful.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I appreciate both the vocabulary and the strategy lesson.
My pleasure. And we're all learning this as we go.
Really, no
But
kidding.
it's really fun to lean into and begin to see where this stuff can take us. It's pretty darn interesting.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Good to see you, and we'll see you next time.
Sounds good, Kevin. Take care, sir. Bye, everyone.